Hello, and welcome back to the Follow Your Spark podcast. It's your host, Gina Casbaro, and I'm coming on to talk all about what can help inspire you into action so that you can answer whatever calls are beckoning you forward. And I was inspired to come on for today's episode because I just hosted a masterclass last Friday called Answer the Call. And we had such a powerful conversation with so many courageous, passionate humans who have dreams and desires and visions that they want to move towards. And we dove into all the things that hold you back, that you think are holding you back, but that are actually holding you back, and what can help propel you forward into action. And this topic feels particularly relevant to me right now because we are about to enter Aries season, a time of fire, a time of action, a time of forward momentum. Aries is the pioneer, the trailblazer, the visionary. And I happen to be an Aries. My birthday is coming up April 6th. And I feel this energy so strong in my own life. And I am seeing it in my clients, in my community, this fire igniting. We've been in this time of dreaming and visioning and imagining, and now we're being called into action. And I really believe that when each of us has the courage to follow whatever call is on your heart, whether that's a call to share your gifts, to start a business, to speak your messages more vocally out into the world, to show up more authentically in your relationships, to finally pursue that passion, that hobby that you've been wanting to try, but you've been hesitant to explore, whatever it is, when you do that, it not only enriches your own life, I really believe it positively impacts everyone around you. And that ripple out impact is endless. I'm seeing this so deeply, I'm a facilitator with a dance community called Sparkle Space in Baltimore. And we had so many people, new people, show up for our event last Sunday. People who were afraid, people who had all kinds of reasons why they normally wouldn't do something like that. And yet they said yes. And when they showed up and allowed themselves to express, to move their body, to be real, to be human, it inspired so many other people in that room. And people were thanking each other of like, thank you for being my teacher today. Thank you for being an example of what it looks like to let yourself move in whatever way that you want to move. So knowing that when you answer a call in your life to show up, when you answer a call to be somewhere, to go to an event, to share your gifts, to share your offerings, whatever it is, you don't even know who you're going to impact. And sometimes you might get that feedback verbally in the moment. Sometimes you'll hear back from someone a year later. Sometimes you'll never hear back from someone, but it doesn't matter because that ripple out impact is real and goes so far beyond anything you can imagine. So that is why I am so fired up about this, about you answering the call, and why I want to talk about today what can help propel you into action so that it's not just something that is something that sounds good in your heart that maybe one day you'll pursue. No, I want to support you to be able to take steps towards that now. So we're going to share and talk about what gets in the way and what can really help you the most. And if you missed the masterclass, I offer free clarity calls where we can actually get into a one-on-one conversation about this. So in the podcast, I'm going to share what these calls are all about and why they are so incredibly valuable and how this can be a real catalyst to get you into action. Okay, so you ready? Let's dive in. So the first thing that I find really holds people back from answering a call is potentially lack of clarity on that vision. And maybe, let's say, someone has many passions, they have many skills, they have many different types of offerings they might want to share with the world. Maybe they're an entrepreneur, they want to start a business, and they don't know how do all these things weave together. How, what do I do? What does my offering look like? What is my package going to be? All these different questions of how do I do different things? And because I can't see that bigger picture vision, People hesitate to even be able to take that first step because they think they need more clarity before they take any action. So that's one thing that I find really holds people back from answering calls. And another is sometimes that they have too many calls. There's lots of different ideas potentially drawing their attention and energy. And there's a question of, well, what do I pursue? I don't know whether to do this or do that, or maybe they try a bunch of different things and it's just too much. So that can hold people back from answering a call in the first place. And what I believe really helps is you have to be clear about a why. Why does whatever call that you might be feeling matter to you? And this is where the essence is so much more important and valuable than having the whole plan to be able to see in a crystal clear way of like, oh, in 5 years, I know exactly where I'm headed, right? Because what often gets in the way is that the brain wants safety. It wants security. It's wired for predictability. It's wired for survival. It wants to do things where it can understand what's going to happen next. And answering a call often comes with lots of uncertainty. And in order to get past the discomfort of that, even imagine like if you were to walk into a dark forest right now and you don't know where the path is leading, if you can just visualize that for a second, your heart would probably be pounding, right? There would probably be all kinds of thoughts in your head of like, oh no, I need a map and I need a guide and I need to know what the right path is. Where are the trail markers? I know I have felt this. Oftentimes I've been lost in the woods or thought I might get lost in the woods, but that can be a very real, scary, visceral feeling, right? If it feels like we don't have guideposts and we don't know where we're going to go and we don't have someone there who can tell us exactly what the right path is, that is unsettling. So in order to get past that discomfort, to have the brain be willing to want to venture into the dark woods, there has to be a why so strong that it propels you forward. So for me, on my desk, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see this, that I have this image of a tidal wave, this like card that sits in front of me. And for the past 10 years, my purpose, my why has been I am here to spark a tidal wave of transformation. That's why I feel like I do the work that I do. It's why I feel like I'm on this planet. And that can look very different. Over the past 7 years in my business, that has looked very different. And that's always a why I can come back to that fuels me to be willing to take the next step. So, on this free clarity call that I mentioned, one of the most important things that we do is we spend time exploring your why. You'll be guided through an exercise where I ask you questions about all areas of your life, of what do you actually desire? And then I'll ask you deeper questions to get to the essence of that. And I know it can be challenging to just sit down and journal and create the time in your day to take yourself through practices like this. So that's the beauty of being on a call with someone where I am deeply listening to you. I'm listening for what's underneath the surface of what you're saying. I'm asking you deeper questions to help you understand yourself better so that you can tap into the essence of what really matters to you and really amplify that, really activate that energy. I call it activating your vision when I work with clients, of being able to connect so deeply to a vision, to a why, that it compels you forward so that your calling becomes stronger than the desire to stay in your comfort zone. So that is something, like I said, that really holds people back, I find, is lack of connection or clarity to a vision or why. So that's the first thing that we start with on this clarity call. It's the first thing I start with when I'm working with clients to really illuminate and activate that vision. The second thing that I find really holds people back from answering calls is that the brain has all kinds of quote unquote good reasons of why you can't move forward yet. Maybe you think you don't have the right experience, you don't have the right knowledge, you don't have the right skill set, you don't have the right circumstances, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough time. All these reasons are, again, just the brain wanting to protect you. It's offering you all kinds of reasons why you should just stay here, why you should just stay right here in your life exactly as it is, because your brain knows what that's like. So it's going to throw up roadblocks and obstacles and quote unquote good reasons why you shouldn't get started. And then what happens is we believe those things to be true. We believe that, oh, yeah, it's totally true that I don't have enough money to start a business right now. It's totally true that I don't have enough experience to start this painting path that I want to start, or whatever it is. So, on this clarity call, we explore what is actually getting in the way. What's underneath the surface that you might really be afraid of, or the habits, the thought patterns that are actually blocking you. Because like I said, it's not about what your brain is telling you that you don't have. Those are all just reasons and excuses for not to move forward. So once you can actually discover what are the true obstacles in your path, then you have the opportunity to work with those, to address those. And it puts the power back in our hands. And I feel like this can be challenging sometimes for people to hear of when we feel powerless. You know, maybe you feel powerless because of circumstances or all these reasons why you can't move forward. It's a way where we don't have to be the creator of our lives. We can feel like there's outside forces that are dictating what I can and can't do. Versus if we actually believed that it's within our control to make progress, to take action, to grow skills, then it would be up to us to do that. Then we'd have to do that to really believe that we have the power to do that. It invites us to be a creator in our lives and to really take responsibility for what is within our control and begin to work on those things, work on improving those skills, work on changing the thoughts, work on going to the mental gym, I call it. You know, if like you want to get stronger, you go to the gym and you put in the reps. So the same thing can happen to build new beliefs. So on the clarity call, we really discover what are the thoughts getting in your way? What are the limiting beliefs that are trying to convince you that you're not capable? So then we can actually see what could you be practicing? What new beliefs, what new skills, what new practices, what new habits could you be practicing that would actually make the biggest difference? Which brings me to the next pitfall that came up. Someone shared this in the masterclass that they were saying that, you know, I thought that once I took the first step, it would get easier. I thought it would like all be downhill once I got started. But what she realized is that there were more challenges. There were more obstacles. And actually, someone who was on the podcast recently, Michelle Wicks, said this too of when confidence grows, fear can grow. Because when we become more confident, when we actually have the courage to take new actions, then we're going to be met with our new upper limit, with that next box to push against of whatever limiting beliefs are at that level. And there's always going to be new and different challenges. And my hope, my intention is not that you hear this and it's discouraging of like, oh, the challenges never end. What I will say is that even though the challenges never end, there are skills that you can develop that make meeting those challenges easier, that make you feel more capable of addressing obstacles in your path, so that when you're faced with a challenge, it doesn't feel so insurmountable. And that's the thing too, of like when I first started my business, there were, like I said, limiting beliefs or logistical challenges or all kinds of challenges that felt so hard. And that would set me back for days or weeks as I was trying to overcome them and do mental gymnastics to increase my belief or increase my skill set, whatever they are. And now, after 7 years, my muscles are so much stronger. So when obstacles come up, when disappointments come up, when a potential client says no, when something doesn't go as I predicted or planned, I might feel an initial sense of disappointment or something else, but I'm able to overcome that so much easier, so much quicker. Where in the past, when I first started my business, I would have made a rejection mean so much and spin into all kinds of stories of like, oh my God, I'm not capable. This is never going to work. I'm such a failure, all these things. And when the brain gets into all of that, that is so draining. And it takes so much more energy to try to push yourself back up the mountain. So now my mindset is so much stronger. My belief is so much stronger. So that again, when something happens, when someone says no, again, I might feel disappointed, but I can bounce back from that so much quicker and keep moving so much faster because all the things that used to drain my energy don't anymore. So even though there's always going to be challenges on the path, there are skills that you can develop that will make addressing those challenges so much easier. And that's another beautiful thing about the clarity call as we explore what are those skills so that you can see and know and understand that there's hope. It's possible. Whatever it is that you want to pursue, whatever call is beckoning you forward, even if you've procrastinated on it, even if you've tried before it and failed, whatever obstacle you faced, it's possible to overcome. And I think that's something that happens too that holds people back is, again, they make all those things mean that they're not capable, that your dream is not for you, that you're uniquely flawed in some way, that it's never going to work out. And none of that is true. So, on this clarity call, we'll be able to explore what are the actual concrete skills that you can develop that would make you so much stronger and help you face whatever obstacles are in your path with so much more ease so that you can really enjoy the journey more. Because, yes, there's going to be obstacles in the path, and there's so much beauty and joy and gifts and blessings that come with answering the call. Like, I feel so blessed every single day to face the challenges of entrepreneurship, to navigate the obstacles on my path because I am living my purpose. I am living my why. I have a business that I get to spark transformation. I get to spark a tidal wave of transformation every single day. And I get to know that I am that person answering the call. So it's possible to enjoy and celebrate the journey instead of it feeling so arduous. And we'll break down the exact skills that will help you do that on this call. The last thing I want to talk about now that I really find can be challenging for people in answering the call is to just start can be one of the most challenging things. And again, it's like if you're going full steam ahead in one direction, whether you're in a boat or a car or whatever vehicle you want to imagine, you're going full steam in one direction. So in order to change course, oftentimes in order to answer the call, that might mean and look like you're going in a different direction. And especially initially, it could take a lot of momentum and energy to like redirect that ship. And all of us, I'm sure lead full lives or feel like you have lots of responsibilities or day-to-day routines that you're used to doing. That's what feels automatic. That's what feels familiar. It's like if you drive to and from work every day or you drive to and from somewhere super familiar, your brain's on autopilot. It doesn't have to think. So if you were to go a different route or go in a different direction, it would take more effort. It would take you looking things up on GPS. It would take you paying more attention to your surroundings to be like, oh, did I take the right exit? It takes more energy. So to answer a call, especially initially, can take a lot of energy to redirect, to really have the mind and the body and the soul and the spirit be willing to take a step in that direction of the unknown. So the clarity call, again, I find as an opportunity to break out of your habitual patterns, to be willing to see things from a different perspective, to be willing to consider alternative viewpoints, and to start exploring the idea of, what could I do differently? If I was to imagine this was possible, what would my next step be? If I was willing to let go of needing to know exactly how this was going to turn out. What would I feel called to next? Because again, so many people believe that I need to be fully confident in order to move forward. I need to know exactly where I'm going in order to move forward. And I believe that I teach something called kinetic confidence in my process with my clients. And what that means is that motion creates confidence. When you have the courage to take it one step at a time, that's when you get access to the next breadcrumb of information, when you're willing to take that step out into the unknown. So, this free clarity call is an opportunity to take that step into the unknown, to give yourself time and space to explore, what do I actually desire? What is the call on my heart? Am I willing to see things from a different perspective, to challenge my limiting beliefs? And that's another beautiful benefit of this call, because I'm here to be an advocate for your dreams. I'm here to believe so deeply in you that even if you struggle to believe, you can borrow mine. And what I find can sometimes happen is when we're surrounded by just people in our everyday life, it might be easy for others to agree with your reasons, with your quote unquote excuses. If you were to share something with someone and say, oh, but now's not the right time. I'm super busy, like maybe in the summer or when the kids graduate or when I have more money or something. And friends or family might be like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's really a reasonable, responsible thing to do. You should wait. I'm not going to say that. Sorry to say. I am going to really help you explore what else could be true and to really question all the thoughts in your mind that tell you why you can't. Because when you practice that, when you practice those thoughts, when you practice imagining the reality of, this is true because these are all the reasons why I can't, because this is the worst case scenario that could happen. That's another thing that we do. We practice the worst case scenario and rehearse that, and then we drift in that direction because that's what we focus on. So I'm going to help you imagine and drift into the other direction, to live into this exploration of what could be possible. And that's a thing of like, we're so used to thinking what's probable. I'm going to invite you into a conversation of what's possible. If you dared to believe, you could grow and expand. You could do things you've never done before. You could learn new skills. You could grow your capacities. Like what you imagine for yourself right now is just the tip of the iceberg of what you are actually capable of. So this conversation is to create that possibility, that space where we can dance and play and explore in what's possible so that you can leave that call so inspired and so lit up and with deeper belief, or even just beginning to explore the belief of what else could be possible, and that you walk away from that call clear about what's the next step you could take. What are the support systems that would actually serve you to help you walk this path? And we'll explore together if it feels like a good fit of working together. What could that look like? Because for me, answering the call, I am so eternally grateful for all the coaches, the mentors, the teachers that have supported me on my path to learn new skills, to help me grow my belief in myself, to help me expand my identity, and to really be surrounded by other humans who have done that so that I can see evidence of other people who dared to believe in bigger dreams for themselves and see that as evidence. So we'll explore what that could be like. What could it be like to actually have accountability, to have partnership, to have, just like you would have a coach at the gym, to have a coach that can support you to develop new habits mentally, in your lifestyle, in your environment, to help you become this next level version of yourself and step into the person who has answered the call and really explore, how do they think? How do they act? How do they live? And how can I begin practicing that person every single day? Because when people think about answering the call, so often we think of just like the end result, right? Like what's the epitome of the final destination that I want to get to. And we don't always think about the everyday, the small actions that actually take us up the mountain. So to be able to have someone that can support you, that can walk with you, for me, that has been the greatest gift. So that's another really beautiful opportunity in this clarity call to explore. Is this a good fit? And if not, what is the next step that is going to help propel you forward? Because I am not attached to whether we work together or not. I am just so committed to help you get clear on your vision of what actually matters to you, to understand what's holding you back, and to really discover what can help you. What are the skills that can help you? What are the modalities that can help you? And if it's not me, I'll share with you whatever I think that could be, because I want you to leave this call empowered and clear about what's next and what can actually propel you towards the dreams that you have, to help you be in action towards answering the call. Because like I said, we're in Aries season. There's so many planets in Aries. There's so much fire and momentum and energy available to us right now. This is a beautiful time to lean into that. I mean, anytime is a beautiful time. And particularly now, we have some momentum and energy, I feel like, from the cosmos, from the universe, from the collective. I feel like the magma is like coming up from the volcano. So if you want to ride these fire waves, let's have a conversation. So if this speaks to you, you can go to ginakesbauer.com/clarity call. I've opened up time in my schedule in March for more of these calls so that I can support you in this way to really tune into the call on your heart and discover what is that next step that you can take that's going to help propel you in that direction. So if that speaks to you, go to ginakesbauer.com/clarity call so that we can explore what is that call that is beckoning you forward. All right, my friend, I am wishing you a beautiful day, and I will talk to you soon.